Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel. I'm Mark,
And I'm Rob.
and today we're going to talk about the Time Magazine interview with Caitlin Clark, where she says for the first time that she has white privilege. So, hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do so you get notified of our next video. So, Caitlin Clark got Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, and there's this big, long interview, and she talked about a lot of topics that she hadn't talked about before, including race. And this is what she said. I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing. Rob, what is your reaction to that?
Well, to her point, I don't think she had white privilege. She's a very skilled athlete. She's the best skilled athlete right now in the world, I think. So the white privilege has nothing to do with color. It's just the way she's a great ball player. So that was an advantage for her coming into the WNBA. That wasn't an advantage. Kind of annoys me that she would, I don't know, as people say, bend the knee towards black players who didn't like her or who didn't care for her, who are still, even if she says this, are still going to be jealous of her, or So I think I mean, the race thing just drives me. Like I said, I just wish be out of sports and just out of society, whatever. Just evaluate the person for the way they are, like Martin Luther King said. You know, content of character, not color of skin. So if we just follow that, everything will be fine in society.
Well, I don't think the players in the WNBA were doing that with Caitlin Clark. Part of the reason that they treated her poorly was because she was white. In fact, the main reason they treated her was white, and the fact that they were jealous and envious of her because she got a lot of attention, a lot of money. It was all grouped in together. It wasn't just because she was white, because they didn't mistreat the other white players who didn't get a tremendous amount of attention, but they did with her because they thought that she was basically had white privilege, essentially. I have very mixed feelings about this, Rob, because I don't even like the word privilege because I don't think that's the right word. I think it's an advantage to be white. The definition of privilege is a special right, advantage, or immunity granted or available only to a particular person or group. I don't see privilege. I don't see her advantage of being white as a special right or immunity because everybody has advantages in different ways. And I just don't consider privilege a right. I just consider being white as an advantage in our society. And I acknowledge that. I acknowledge being a male can be an advantage in our society. Being straight is an advantage in our society. I just don't think it's as a big advantage as some people make it out to be. And my other problem is they tend to forget other advantages or privileges that exist in society that they may have that other people don't have, and think that the white privilege is the only privilege that exists in our society. Now, maybe the best advantage to have, but it's not the only one. And there's other ones that have great advantages in our society that they don't seem to want to acknowledge. Anyone who's tall or very good looking or had the advantage of two parents who were very educated and smart or born with athletic ability, I could go on and on. But there's all
I
sorts of
mean,
advantages or privileges in our society that exist other than being white.
yeah, I mean,
And
if a top movie star walks into a restaurant, who's going to get the best seat? Not me. They're gonna get the best seat because why? Because they're a movie star. So I mean, is that a privilege or advantage? Yes, it is.
right now, some whites don't think they have any kind of advantage in our society. I think they do and just aren't aware of it. I just think that it's overstated, and I also think it's not as big an advantage people think because I think hard work and having the talent and making yourself qualified for jobs happen. But I also think that there's other advantages that also exist all the time. And I can give you all sorts of examples of women who make a ton of money just on their looks. and, and
Well,
and some Asia Wilson, thinks it's a big advantage to be white in basketball when it's silly because it doesn't help you any in basketball. In fact, it hurts you because people think you're slower and they don't think you're as athletic. And Asia Wilson's got height advantage, and she grew up in a good household with two parents, and she went to a good school, and she had athletic ability. She had all sorts of advantages that she doesn't want to seem to acknowledge that gave her an advantage over other people.
Yeah. Well, let's get down. I mean, then we're done with this race thing. So the bottom line is in this country, and I tell people this all the time, you had to pass a law in order for me as a black person to vote. American who fought in wars, built the White House, built all of DC was done by the slaves. So you had to pass a law in order for me to vote. So there's your advantage right there. If the whites who say that they don't have an advantage, you had to pass a law in order for me to vote, and you had to pass a law for me to get a job. So, come on, that right there just shows you where the advantage you have. If you and I went for an interview, this has happened to me. If I was on the phone, you spoke to me on the phone, and then you come and meet me. Actually, and their first reaction, looking like, "Oh, he's not white," because I spoke very well. He's black, and it is. I mean, I don't think they do it subconsciously. It's like they see, "Oh, he's black." Then they go on and that's past them. But that first initial shock of like, Jesus, this black person can actually speak so well. I thought they were white. They sounded white. So there's an advantage right there.
Now, some people are upset because she bended the knee, or they say that she bent the knee, or that she kissed the ring. And in a way, she did, because this is what they've been waiting to hear her say, because this is what Paige Becker said, and that's why Paige Becker's treated better than Caitlin Clark by the black community. And there's no question in my mind that's part of the reason. I mean, she has UConn privilege too, which is another privilege that people aren't aware of. But some fans are like not going to follow her now because she said this, which of course I think is ridiculous, because then you're not really a true fan. And I'll quote some from the video. This is on Black and White Sports, and there's two. There's a Black and White Sports and who a black guy is the host, and there's a Black and White Sports 2, TOO, and a white guy does the host, and he does Caitlin Clark videos, and he never criticizes Caitlin Clark. This guy is more of a conservative black guy. He doesn't see any advantages to being white in our society. In the video, he said that. He said he worked hard and he always got the job because he was qualified. Okay, fine. Anyways, the comments down below are, as a white man, the only privilege I've ever had is the ability to work hard and provide for myself. Another person said, one of the most refreshing things about her was her absence of politics in an activist league. This is disappointing. Now that I agree with. I like the fact that she was saying, I just want a ball. I don't want to get involved in the politics of things. Don't drag me into your politics of your league. Well, they finally did, Rob, after a full season. I was a fan of CC, not anymore. I had to work my ass off for 43 years, only to find Social Security can't keep up with inflation, leave me hungry some days. What a stupid racist thing to say. So disappointing. So this person thinks saying I have white privilege is racist. Another person defended her, saying she's 22 years old. She's just answering the best she can, which is I think that was a nice response. So someone said, well, is this a shock? She liked Taylor Swift endorsement of Harris. That's the first clue. So if she wants to support the ideology that she's been bullying her since the WNBA, let her have at it. Let's go back to not watching. She gave us one good year. What a letdown. They took one season to break her spirit. What a shame. She fails to understand that it doesn't matter what she says. The mob will never accept her or her success. She's going to learn the hard way.
Okay, now that I agree with, but she's not going to go down. I mean, the popularity is not going to go down. And if they don't want to watch her anymore, but yeah, I mean, he's point on with that. I mean, I don't see how you can. If someone's bullying me and abusing me, I'm not going to promote them and say, hey, I think this person should be You know, maybe they're a bully, but you know, they're still a good person. No, they're not a good person. If you're a bully, you're not a good person. Just like I said with Witherspoon, as a coach, you taught your players how to play that way. You're not a good person.
I don't know if it's going to affect her popularity one way or another, because in some ways she's going to lose a couple fans. I can tell you by these comments, she's going to lose a couple fans. Whether they really mean it or not is another story. But in the other sense, she may pick up a couple fans who like hated her for the wrong reasons, that, oh, maybe I was wrong about this. And maybe they grew up and you say, hey, maybe I shouldn't have hated her in the first place. You know, hey, she is woke. What did they want her to be? And we'll get into that later. But anyways, so I'm not sure. I think, Rob, there a certain percentage of people are always going to hate her. And
No
that's
what.
because she has so much, an inordinate amount of publicity, attention, and money that she makes from being a successful and exciting basketball player.
And you left out. I mean, yeah. You left out skill. She has so much skill, and she's only going to get better. That people are going to still be jealous of her, no matter what, because she's only going to get better.
Right. Well, that's the problem I have with people like Asia Wilson, who said it was a huge reason. Is I don't think it's a huge reason. I think any white basketball player is going to get more publicity than they deserve. So obviously, some of her publicity and attention she gets is because she's white. I just don't think it's nearly as much as Asia Wilson thinks it is, because otherwise Breanna Stewart, Kelsey Plum, and Sabrina Ionescu would have moved the needle way more than they did, which they didn't. And in fact, Rob, she talked about the black people, building this league. They had a list of the 25 greatest WNBA players recently, and 1/3 of them were white. Eight out of 25, 16 were black, one was from Portugal. So it wasn't like this is like 95% black players built this league. 1/3 of the biggest stars in WNBA history were white. So this isn't all black women building this league. So I just want to get that out of there.
Yeah, it wasn't Women's National Black Association. Okay.
No, that's what people want to say. And, and so I have a problem with all that. And I think that I can't put a percentage on why and how much her being white helps in her popularity, but I actually think it's a small percentage. I think the main reason she's popular has to do with the fact that she's a great player. And most importantly, she's super exciting and fun to watch. That's what makes her stand out as an athlete. That's why she's so popular. That's probably 75% of the reason she's popular. And really, and that's not even getting to her ability yet.
Like I said, if the person who just happens to be blind and you start talking about a basketball player and you just start describing, what she did and these moves and what she can do, that logo threes and stuff. If you were blind, you wouldn't even know what color she was. Maybe you would guess because of her last name, Caitlin Clark. But still, you might not. You're like, oh, wow, she's just a great basketball player. No, there's nothing to do with color. She's a great basketball player.
Well, that's my problem I have with all this. They won't accept the fact that, I can't give an exact figure. Say 90% of this is because it's not because she's white. And, and they think it's 90% because she's white, when it's really, really the main thing here is because she's a very exciting, great basketball player. And she has a great personality.
Right.
And she says all the right things. She takes the high roads and she praises everybody. And she's likable. Some people don't think she's likable because they're racist or they're jealous of her, they're envious of her, but she's very likable. She's got a good sense of humor. She's smart. She helps out. Other comments were like, dumb politics should stay out of this. Now, that part, I agree with that. That's what I liked about her. I liked the fact that she was trying to keep politics out of that. And I guess she just finally gave in because she said that she didn't want to be abused next year, I guess. Another person said she just destroyed her followers. And look, if you're following her because you thought she was on the far right, then you were following her for the wrong reason. I didn't care what her politics were. I followed her because she was a really exciting basketball player.
Right.
Another person said, well,
if she was on the far right, how come she has so many black male followers? If she was such a far right. We knew. We're watching her because she's a good basketball player. We had nothing. It has nothing to do with politics. What? She's a great basketball player. We enjoy watching basketball.
They lost our respect for her. The comments go on, and I expect it from this website because this is a conservative website, and they wanted her to be one of theirs. She's not, and you shouldn't be following a person because of politics. Sports. You shouldn't be following a person in sports because of. But if you do, that's your choice. But I think it's silly. That's not. I follow sports so I can get away from politics. And so the reason we talk about politics in this channel is because they drag us into it with all this drama in the WNBA.
They keep this is what I'm trying to get out, Mark. They keep pulling me in.
I don't know.
Classic Godfather way.
Some people pointed out that you don't have to help people who hate you. So this is a mistake, or you don't give in to bullies, and so this is a mistake. I don't know why she did it now, Rob. It's perplexing to me. I do think she's hoping, maybe they'll lay off her a little bit with the hard fouls and stuff like that and the mistreatment.
It's not going to happen.
Well, I think it will a little bit, but I think, again, unless she suddenly becomes unpopular and nobody follows her, nobody likes her, and she doesn't make any money, they're always going to be so jealous and envious of all those factors. They're always going to dislike her for that reason.
And now
that's never going to change,
Mark. And now with her being athlete of the year in Times, it's
now what's really going to make it worse, Rob, is if she wins the championship and wins an MVP, especially in the same year, because then everything, despite what some people think, is going to go through the roof even more.
Mm-hmm.
And also take away the arguments that she can't win a championship. And the viewership for the WNBA finals will be unbelievable. I'm not going to make any predictions, but they'll be unbelievable.
They will be. They will be. If she's in the finals, they will be.
I can't give you a million, what million viewers will tune in. But it'll be different than it was this year. Let's put it that way.
Oh, yes, definitely.
The guy I'm just talking about, Black and White Sports, called it pathetic and dumb. But I've already talked about, people say, she didn't play the victimhood. And that's what WNBA players do all the time. And that's what people liked about her. And she didn't. She could have played the victim. She was being abused. And she's always taken the high road on that. And through the articles, she didn't say anything again to change that. So I don't know if she's bowing down to the pressure, Rob, or whatever. And she just wanted to get it out there because people wanted to know how she felt about this topic. I know they did. They go, does she agree with Paige, or is she more like, more like the far right, where there's no such thing as white privilege? And turns out she's more like Paige. And so that's what it is. That's just what it is. She decided to come out, whether it was the right thing to do or the right strategy. I don't know. I'm sure she talked it over with people before she came out with this. So it wasn't like she just put it off the top of her head. I'm sure this was discussed with her marketing mother background and her agent and her friends and her family. And like, should I come out and say I have white privilege? And she did. And some people are disappointed. I'm not disappointed in that. I think she went a little far with it because she didn't become successful 90%, I'd say, because she's
right. White. That's what I'm saying. She did not become.
That's the problem I have, and not in basketball. I mean, I think it's more an advantage in like business as opposed to in basketball. I think it can be a disadvantage in being white. Yeah, you get a little bit more publicity, but you're doubted for your abilities when you're white. So
but they didn't even promote. But that, Mark, they still didn't promote her that much. The WNBA didn't promote her like they should have. Mm-hmm. So she really didn't have that advantage. Not like they're doing now with people who are not even in the league, like Juju Watkins, who's not even in the league yet, and they're trying to get rid of her. Actually, Caitlin Clark with all these other promotions with other people, Paige and Juju Watkins, they're preparing people for when they come into the league. So they're trying to just downgrade her, actually, as far as her popularity.
Right. Now, Caitlin Clark has good height and good athletic ability, but the reason she's a great player is because she put the work in. And that's the problem I have with all this is that she earned it. And she kind of contradicted herself. Like she said she earned everything that she's got, but yet I got white privilege. So she contradicted herself a little bit. Yeah. But what she was saying is that she worked hard. And I maintain, and I can't prove it to you, that for anybody else that's exactly her age or in that range, she's put more hours in the gym than anybody else. In fact, per year that she's been on the planet, then I think she's worked harder at basketball than any other woman in the world.
And that's why,
I can't prove it.
And that's why when she said that, that the black players, she's sticking up for them or need to promote them. That's when they need to do. Angel Reese, get off social media. Go in the gym and work on your shot instead of just throwing the ball off the rim 3 or 4 times and padding your stats. I mean, I do give Adrian Wilson this credit. She came in this year because she had lost the MVP, and she said, "Okay, I'll show you." And she had a "I show you" attitude, and she worked on her game. And she played well, and she deserved the MVP this year only because she said, "Okay, I saw that they give it to Breonna Stewart. Oh no way, I'm going to come in and show people." That's what you do.
I suspect that's part of the reason she's not playing in 3-on-3 league. The same thing Caitlin Clark said in the interview. She actually said this in the interview that she wanted to work on her game in the offseason instead of playing in 3-on-3. A'ja Wilson knows Caitlin Clark is coming for her title as best player in the league. Now, some Caitlin Clark fans think she already is. I do not think that's the case because defense and turnovers, but I think she's very close to being the best player in the league, and she's the best offensive player in the league. She's better than anyone else in women's basketball in making her teammates better. But she knows Caitlin Clark is coming. She saw the improvement from game 1 to game 42, and she knows Caitlin Clark is coming. And so I think A'ja Wilson's working on her game, which is great. That's what she should do. If she wants to be still the best player in the league, she better work on her game because Caitlin Clark is going to improve a lot this year with a new coach, especially. And so, but I think it's inevitable that Caitlin Clark is the best player in the league at the end of this year.
Right.
And that's just
all right.
She has the talent and she puts the work in. So, anyways, I don't know. Did she bend the knee? I guess she did bend the knee a little bit. She did bend the knee. Was it virtual signaling? I don't know. I don't know why she did it. Now, I like the fact that she wasn't being political. And so I was disappointed in that way. I'm not disappointed that she said she had white privilege, although I don't like that phrase.
Yeah.
She said she had an advantage for being white in society. I can acknowledge that. I just don't think it's an advantage in basketball that much. Except for
it wasn't true. It wasn't a true statement, no.
Except for the attention you get. Yeah. Whatever it is what it is. She said it, now it's out there. Maybe they'll lay off her, but I don't think so.
No,
some players will lay off her, Rob. I think so. And some players will not. They're still going to be jealous and envious of her, and that's never going to change.
All righty.
Years. Anyways, let us know what you think down below. I have mixed feelings. It's a very complicated topic. I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer to this. It's the one that's going to draw the most discussion and the most attention, and the one that some people are going to have on extreme views on it. So I'd like to hear your views down below.
Yep, for sure.
And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to talk about this, call in on our show on Monday night. It's 6 to 8 Eastern time, except for major holidays. If you haven't donated to our channel, you can with super chats and super thanks. And there's a link to PayPal. And we'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.